Adam, can I tell you something embarrassing?
This is usually where the best stories start.
A few weeks ago, my phone rang, and I just stared at it.
You didn't answer?
No,
Who was calling?
honestly, I don't even remember. Maybe a delivery driver, maybe a clinic, maybe somebody returning a call. Nothing scary, nothing dramatic, just a normal phone call.
And you still didn't answer?
No, I watched it ring and ring and ring until it stopped.
And then,
I felt relieved
relieved.
for about 3 seconds. Then I remembered something. Now I have to call them back.
Which is somehow worse.
Exactly. That's the part nobody talks about. Answering the phone feels scary, but calling someone back feels terrifying.
You know what's funny? I think thousands of people listening right now understand exactly what you're talking about.
Especially if English isn't their first language.
Exactly. Because sometimes it isn't the phone call that's scary. It's the feeling that you won't know what to say when somebody answers.
Or they'll speak too fast, or ask a question you weren't expecting, or you'll suddenly forget every English word you've learned in the last 5 years.
The classic disappearing English trick.
Yes, 1 second you're fine, the next second somebody says, "Hello, how can I help you?" And suddenly your brain becomes completely empty.
Like a computer that freezes.
Exactly. And if you've ever looked at your phone and hoped it would stop ringing before you had to answer it, this conversation is for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Tempo. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And this is Between Us.
The place where we have real conversations in clear, natural English about situations that many people experience but don't always talk about.
And today we're talking about something surprisingly emotional: phone calls.
The tiny device that somehow has the power to make grown adults panic.
It's true. Before we continue, if you enjoy conversations like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to English Tempo, and share this episode with a friend who's learning English.
It really helps us continue creating these conversations.
All right, let's be honest. How many times has this happened to you? Your phone rings, you look at the screen, you know exactly who it is, you know you should answer, and somehow you don't.
What's interesting is that people rarely talk about this, but it's incredibly common.
For years, I thought I was the only one.
Really?
Absolutely. I thought everybody else answered immediately. I imagined people confidently saying hello, then having perfect conversations, understanding everything, responding instantly, never feeling nervous.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, I was negotiating with myself.
negotiating.
Oh yes, my brain would start creating excuses. Maybe they'll leave a voicemail. Maybe they'll send a text. Maybe it isn't important. Maybe you should wait 5 minutes.
Your brain sounds very creative.
My brain is excellent at avoiding things.
I think many people can relate to that.
And the strange thing is that sometimes I wasn't even afraid of the person calling.
What do you mean?
I could know exactly who it was, a friendly person, a helpful person, somebody nice, and I'd still feel nervous.
Because the fear isn't always about the person.
Exactly. It's about the situation. It's about uncertainty.
Not knowing what will happen next.
Yes, and phone calls are unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
With a text message, you have time. You can think, you can read it again, you can check your grammar, you can rewrite your reply 3 times.
Or 10 times.
Or 10 times, exactly.
A phone call doesn't give you that luxury.
No, a phone call says, "We're doing this now."
Whether you're ready or not.
And that's what makes it stressful, especially in another language.
You know, I think that's something many native speakers don't understand.
Definitely.
If English is your first language, a phone call is just a phone call. But if English is your second language, your brain is doing so much work behind the scenes.
Listening, understanding, translating sometimes, preparing a response, checking pronunciation, trying not to panic.
All at the same time.
Exactly. And then people wonder why we're tired afterward.
It's basically a full-time job.
Sometimes it feels like one.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Who was your most embarrassing phone call experience?
Oh, easy. The dentist.
The dentist.
The dentist. No competition.
This sounds like a good story.
I needed to book a dental cleaning. Simple. Normal. Nothing unusual.
Okay.
Okay, but I was nervous, so I prepared.
Reasonable?
I wrote notes, I prepared sentences, I even practiced them.
You practiced them.
Several times.
You were committed.
I was determined to sound professional.
What happened?
I called, the receptionist answered, and she said 5 words.
5 words.
5 completely normal words. She said, "Good morning, how can I help you?"
Seems harmless.
Very harmless. Do you know what I said?
I'm afraid to ask.
I said, yes.
Just yes.
Just yes.
Nothing else?
Nothing. 1 word. That's all my brain could produce.
Sarah.
I know.
What happened next?
Silence.
Oh no.
The kind of silence that feels like it lasts 3 years. She waited. I waited. She waited. I panicked.
And then?
Then I started reading from my notes like a robot, as fast as possible. I don't think I even breathed.
Did you get the appointment?
I did.
Then technically that's a success.
Technically, emotionally, I sat on the floor afterward.
On the floor.
For 5 minutes, just staring at the wall.
I love this story.
For years, I hated this story.
But here's what's interesting. You knew the vocabulary.
Yes.
You knew the grammar.
Yes.
You knew exactly why you were calling.
Correct.
So the problem wasn't English.
That's the frustrating part.
Because a lot of learners think if I learn more vocabulary, phone calls won't scare me anymore.
I used to believe that.
But sometimes the problem isn't vocabulary, it's pressure.
Real-time pressure.
Exactly. And that reminds me of one of the most embarrassing phone calls I've ever had.
Oh, good. Please tell me you've done something worse than saying yes.
Maybe, but my story involves one of the most dangerous situations in language learning.
What is it?
Dramatic, understanding about 70% of what somebody said.
Oh no, the dangerous 70%.
Exactly.
Oh no. The dangerous 70%.
Exactly. Because if you understand 0%, you know you have a problem. And if you understand 100%, everything is fine.
But 70%.
70% is dangerous because you understand just enough to become confident.
False confidence.
Very false confidence. So I'm on the phone with someone. Everything is going well. Then they ask me a question, and I catch most of it, not all of it. Just enough to think, okay, I know what they're asking.
You didn't know what they were asking.
Not even close. But instead of saying, sorry, could you repeat that? I answered.
Confidently?
Very confidently.
This is already a disaster.
There was a pause, a long pause. Then the person said, okay, but I was asking about the date.
No.
Yes, I answered a completely different question.
What did you say?
I honestly don't remember. My brain deleted the memory to protect me.
Probably a good decision.
But here's the interesting part. That entire situation could have been avoided with one sentence.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Exactly. A 7-word solution.
You know what's strange? I think many language learners are more afraid of asking someone to repeat themselves than they are of misunderstanding the entire conversation.
I completely agree.
And when you say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous.
Because it is. Asking somebody to repeat something takes 2 seconds.
But misunderstanding a conversation can create 10 minutes of confusion.
Or 20.
Or an embarrassing story you'll tell on a podcast years later.
Exactly. But when you're learning English, your brain creates a story.
A very dramatic story.
A story that says, if I ask them to repeat themselves, they'll think my English is terrible.
When actually they're probably thinking, sure, no problem.
And then immediately forgetting the entire interaction.
That's the funny thing. Most people aren't paying nearly as much attention to us as we think they are.
That's true in life generally, not just with phone calls.
We're all the main character in our own heads.
Exactly. You're thinking about your mistake, they're thinking about lunch.
Or coffee.
Or what they're doing after work.
Meanwhile, you're replaying one sentence for 3 days.
3 days?
Okay, maybe a week.
Now we're being honest. You know something else I've noticed?
What?
I think phone calls feel harder because there are no clues.
That's a good point.
When you're talking face-to-face, you can see people, you can see their expression, you can see if they're confused, you can see if they're smiling.
Communication isn't only words.
Exactly. A huge part of communication happens without words.
But on the phone,
All of that disappears.
it's just a voice, and sometimes that's what makes it stressful.
Do you know what used to happen to me?
What?
Someone would ask me a question, I would understand it, I would know the answer, but I still couldn't speak.
Yes,
It's such a strange feeling.
because people who haven't experienced it don't understand.
Exactly. They think, if you know the answer, why don't you just say it?
Because my brain and my mouth stopped working together.
That's actually the perfect description.
You understand everything. You know exactly what you want to say, but somehow the words refuse to leave your mouth.
And then the silence starts.
The silence spiral.
The silence spiral is real.
Let's explain it.
Okay, somebody asks you a question. You need a second to think, which is completely normal.
But then you become aware of the silence,
And then you start worrying about the silence,
which makes you think slower,
which creates more silence,
which creates more panic.
which creates even more silence.
It's a terrible system.
One of the worst systems ever invented.
0 stars, would not recommend.
Same.
You know something else I've noticed?
What?
I think phone call anxiety isn't really about phones.
Huh, interesting. Go on.
I think it's about pressure.
How so?
Because phone calls force you to perform immediately. There's no preparation, no editing, no rewriting, no second draft.
That's true.
It's just you, in that moment, doing your best.
And that's vulnerable.
Very vulnerable.
You know, I think that's why many learners love texting.
Definitely.
Texting feels safe. Phone calls feel exposed.
That's exactly the word, exposed.
Because suddenly, somebody is hearing your real English,
Not your edited English,
not your carefully prepared English.
your actual English.
The live version.
The live version. And somehow the live version always feels worse than it actually is.
That's true, because we're usually much harsher on ourselves than anybody else is.
Absolutely.
And I think that connects to something deeper.
Can you explain that?
I think many learners aren't actually afraid of making mistakes. I think they're afraid of what those mistakes mean.
That's interesting.
Because a mistake isn't just a mistake. Sometimes it feels like proof. Proof that you're not good enough. Proof that you're not improving. Proof that all your hard work isn't working.
Wow, yes, I've definitely felt that.
And that's where the real problem begins.
Because one awkward phone call suddenly becomes something much bigger.
Exactly. And that's what I want to talk about next, because I think the fear of phone calls is really connected to something deeper than vocabulary, grammar, or pronunciation.
Now I'm curious.
It's connected to identity and the way we see ourselves when we're speaking another language.
Identity? What do you mean by that?
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel exactly the same in English as you do in your first language?
Honestly, no.
Why not?
Because in my first language, I feel complete.
Complete.
I can say exactly what I mean. I can be funny. I can be confident. I can tell stories. I can express my personality without thinking about it.
And in English,
In English, it's getting better, but sometimes I still feel like I'm only showing part of myself.
I think that's exactly what many learners experience.
Really?
Absolutely. Because when you're learning a language, you're not just learning vocabulary. You're trying to move your personality into that language.
That's such an interesting way to describe it.
Think about it. The goal isn't just communication, the goal is being yourself.
Wow, I've never thought about it that way before.
Most people don't, but I think that's why phone calls can feel so emotional.
Because if the words don't come,
You feel like you disappear a little.
yes, that's exactly it.
Not completely, just enough to notice.
And then you start feeling frustrated,
Because you know who you are.
but you can't always express it the way you want.
Exactly.
You know what's funny?
What?
Sometimes after a phone call, I think of the perfect response 5 minutes later.
Only 5 minutes? You're doing well.
Okay, sometimes an hour later.
That's more realistic.
And suddenly I become incredibly intelligent.
Of course, because the pressure is gone.
Exactly. Without pressure, my English becomes amazing.
You're a genius after the conversation ends.
Every time.
But that actually proves something important.
What's that?
The knowledge is already there.
Intriguing. Explain.
If the perfect answer appears 10 minutes later, that means you knew it.
That's true.
The problem wasn't knowledge. The problem was pressure.
I like that, because I think many learners automatically blame themselves,
Exactly. They think, my English is terrible.
when really they were just nervous.
And nervous people don't always perform at their best.
That's true in every language.
Exactly.
You know something else I've noticed?
What?
Avoiding phone calls feels good in the moment.
Very good.
Almost too good.
Temporary relief.
Exactly. The phone stops ringing, you relax, you feel safe.
For a few minutes.
Then a new problem appears.
Now you have to call them back.
Exactly. And somehow that's even worse.
But there's another problem.
What's that?
Every time you avoid something, your brain learns a lesson.
A lesson?
Yes, your brain thinks we avoided that situation.
And?
And because the anxiety disappeared, your brain assumes the situation was dangerous.
Oh.
So next time, it protects you even more.
Which creates more anxiety.
Exactly.
That's actually a little annoying.
Your brain means well.
I know, but sometimes it's not very helpful.
Agreed.
So what you're saying is that every time I avoid a phone call, I'm teaching my brain to fear phone calls even more.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Because avoidance feels so attractive.
It does, because it gives immediate relief.
But long-term problems.
Exactly.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Swimming.
Swimming?
When you're standing outside the water, it feels cold.
True.
And your brain starts creating reasons not to jump in.
I already know where this is going.
But once you're in the water,
It's fine.
exactly. The anticipation is worse than the reality.
And I think that's true for many phone calls.
Not all of them,
No, some phone calls are genuinely stressful.
but many are much easier than we imagine.
Much easier.
Do you remember the first phone call you felt proud of?
Actually, yes.
Really?
I remember finishing a call and realizing something.
What?
Nothing special had happened.
That's what made you proud?
Exactly. Because for years, phone calls felt like major events.
And this one didn't?
No, it felt normal.
And that's when you knew you were improving.
Exactly. Not because the conversation was perfect, because it felt ordinary.
I love that.
I think that's one of the hidden goals of language learning.
What's that?
Making things ordinary.
Wow.
Ordering food becomes ordinary. Meeting people becomes ordinary. Making phone calls becomes ordinary.
And that's when you realize you've grown.
Exactly.
So if somebody's listening right now and they're still afraid of phone calls,
I want them to know something.
what?
You don't need to become fearless. You just need to become a little braver than you were yesterday.
I like that.
And honestly, most growth happens that way. Small steps, small victories, small moments.
Not giant transformations.
Exactly.
And speaking of small steps, what are some things people can actually do to make phone calls easier?
That's a great question, because there are a few things that genuinely helped me, and that's where we should go next.
Okay, let's talk about solutions. Because I think a lot of people listening right now are thinking, that's great, I understand why I'm nervous, but what do I actually do about it?
Fair question. And the good news is that you don't need some complicated system. Most of the things that helped me were surprisingly simple.
What's the first one?
Stop trying to prepare for every possible conversation.
You're attacking me personally.
I know, because I used to do exactly the same thing.
I'd imagine 20 different scenarios, 20 different questions, 20 different answers.
And then the other person would say something completely different.
Every single time.
Exactly. So instead of preparing for the entire conversation, prepare one sentence.
One sentence?
Just the opening. Something simple. Hi, I'm calling about my order. Hi, I'd like to make an appointment. Hi, I have a question. That's it.
I actually like that. It feels much less overwhelming.
Because the hardest part is often getting started.
What's the second thing?
Practice saying repair phrases until they become automatic.
Repair phrases?
Sentences like, sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say that a little more slowly?
The sentences we avoid because we're embarrassed.
Exactly. But here's the funny thing. The moment I started using those phrases, phone calls became easier.
Because you understood more?
Because I stopped pretending I understood everything.
That's actually a great point.
A lot of anxiety comes from trying to be perfect.
And perfect is exhausting.
Very exhausting.
What's the third thing?
This one took me the longest to learn. Remember that the person on the other end wants the conversation to succeed too.
That's such a simple idea.
But most people forget it.
We act like they're judging us.
When in reality, they're usually trying to help us.
Or just trying to finish their workday.
Exactly.
You are not the main character of their day.
And somehow that's incredibly comforting.
It really is.
Because it takes some of the pressure away.
You know what I think helped me the most?
What?
Small wins.
I completely agree.
Not big, scary phone calls, not important phone calls, small phone calls.
The low-stakes ones.
Exactly. Calling a shop, asking a simple question, checking opening hours, things like that.
Because every successful experience teaches your brain something new.
It teaches your brain that you're safe.
Exactly. And eventually, your brain stops treating every phone call like a threat.
You know, when we started this conversation, I thought we were talking about phone calls. And now?
And now, I think we're talking about courage.
I think so too. Not huge, dramatic courage.
The quiet kind.
The kind nobody sees.
The kind that happens when you answer a phone call even though you're nervous.
Or make somebody repeat themselves.
Or make a mistake and keep talking anyway.
I think that's what people forget.
What?
I think courage isn't feeling confident first.
Exactly.
Courage is doing it before you feel ready.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So before we finish, I want to ask you one last question.
Okay.
If you could go back and talk to the version of yourself who was nervous about phone calls, what would you say? I'd say this. The goal isn't to sound perfect. The goal is to connect with another human being. That's it. Nobody's expecting perfection. Nobody's grading you. Nobody's keeping score. And every phone call you avoid becomes bigger in your imagination than it is in reality. So, answer the call. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present.
I love that.
What would you say?
I think I'd say the person on the other end has no idea how much courage it took for you to make that call. They don't know how much you practiced. They don't know how nervous you are. They don't know how fast your heart is beating. And that's okay, because this call isn't really for them. It's for you. And every time you answer, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you think.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And honestly, I think a lot of people needed to hear that today.
And if you're listening right now, we hope this conversation reminded you of something. You are not the only person who feels nervous. You are not the only person who makes mistakes. And you're definitely not the only person who's ever watched a phone ring and hoped it would stop.
If this episode helped you, please like the video, subscribe to English Tempo, and share it with another English learner.
And tell us in the comments, have you ever ignored a phone call because you were too nervous to answer?
We have a feeling the answer is going to be yes.
Probably.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
Take care of yourselves.
Keep practicing.
Keep showing up. And remember,
Progress isn't being fearless.
progress is answering the call.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.